Obviously, first and foremost, before any conversation at this hour, we're concerned for the human beings involved, the health and safety of the president, First Lady Hope Hicks, anyone else who may be on a CDC rapid call list tonight of contact tracing, given the huge number of people come in contact with at least these three. But what else have you gathered?
You're right, Brian. There are a number of people who have come into contact with the president, and I don't want to skip over the first point that you made, because you're right. This is incredibly serious and about the health of the leader of the country, his wife, at least one top official that we know of. I will tell you that we are out to the vice president's office for their response or statement, as well as to the Trump campaign on this, because there are a lot of questions about sort of where this goes next, what happens from here. You alluded to the idea that there will be some contact tracing done, and I can tell you that that is the expectation among at least some people inside the White House. Remember, the president had interactions today with a number of people, a number of his staff members. I'm not sure if the video that we're showing which day that is from, but I can tell you that today the president was on Marine One, Air Force One up at Bedminster, his resort up in New Jersey, for a fundraising event with others as well. So he was around a number of people. He came into contact with a number of people. I can tell you that he will be working from the residence. The First Lady, as you read in that tweet, alluded to that as well. She says that she is feeling fine right now, as is her husband, I should say. But at this point, again, the question is medically, and this is another thing we're trying to pin down here, what is the treatment for the president should he get to the point where he needs treatment? Again, she says, the First Lady, as you're looking on the screen right now, says she is feeling good, that they are both feeling good. The doctor, Dr. Conley, the White House physician, says that as well. But at what point do they need to make sure that there are some treatments or therapeutics in place for that? As far as the president's schedule, you have to imagine, Brian, and we'll get some clarity on this, you don't see how he gets on a plane anytime soon, frankly. And he is somebody who had a lot of travel, who had a lot of campaign travel that was intensifying, as we are now just 32 days out from the election. And at this point, it looks as though all of that is changing. There are question marks about the people that he's come in contact with over the last couple of days as well. You were talking to our medical expert just earlier in this special report. Keep in mind that it was just on Tuesday, Brian, so it was just, I think, 48 hours ago, maybe 52 hours ago at this point, that the president was wrapping up the debate and getting on his plane, flying back here to Washington with his entire family, all of his adult children on that plane on Air Force One. There's a list of about 20 people that we've identified who were traveling on that plane with the president. I can tell you one of them, a member of Congress, Congressman Jim Jordan, a Republican aide, says that Jordan was told that he did not need to quarantine, or is not planning to quarantine, I should say. This is after we reached out to the Hill folks there after we learned that Hope Hicks had tested positive as well. And you're seeing some people who recently traveled with Hope. And of course, you have to add that now. That graphic could change to people who recently traveled with President Trump and First Lady Melania Trump as well. East Wing staff, you have to remember that there is a West Wing staff, but Melania Trump has her own staff as well that she is in close contact with, including former Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham, who is now her chief of staff. So again, the domino effect is real here. And there are tentacles that extend through the West Wing and the East Wing. And so these are some of the questions that we're working on tonight, and some of the facts that we know as we are continuing, of course, to work on this. Listen, what time is it, Brian? It's 1:45, right, in the morning? Everybody's awake. Nobody is asleep. And I think that tells you something, too.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.